Don't you hate it when someone photo bombs your photo? Well, we're going to have a look at 3 different ways to remove someone or something from a shot in Photoshop. Firstly, let's have a look at how we can remove the woman from the shot manually. I'm going to go over here to my spot heel brush tool, and if I start down here on the shadow, I can remove the shadow just by painting along there, and it's going to spot heel, so use the content around there to remove it. If I've got a slightly larger area, I could do it bit by bit with the spot heel brush tool, like that. But I might find it's a little bit easier if I click and hold down and go to the patch tool. And then I can draw around, just roughly around the shape. I'd always make it larger than you need to. Make it larger like that. Now if I click and drag that to the left, it's going to patch in part of the background. I could drag it left or right. I think going by the mountains in the background, that side will work better. Need to move it far enough across so it's completely clean, and now it's just going to patch in that area. When I release my mouse, it does the work. If I go to select, deselect, now it's patched that and removed it pretty well. There's a newer way that we can do this, and I'm going to go over here. Now normally where we have our quick selection tool, there's a new tool called object selection, and if I select that, I can draw a rectangle to select an object, and Photoshop will automatically detect what it thinks is the object within that shot. That's done a pretty good job. So if I went up to File, Content Aware Fill, it's going to attempt to fill that, as we can see over here, but you get this strange kind of ghosting impression there, and that's because the selection is very fine around the edge. So I'm going to cancel that. So now if I go to Edit, Content Aware Fill, I've got a much better looking result. I'm just going to go and hit OK, and that's now filled it. If I go select, deselect, I've got the results there. And again, there's often going to be a bit of tweaking, so I just see his toes in here. So I'm just going to Command plus to zoom in, hold space bar to navigate down. And if I go back over to my spot heel brush, I'll just remove these traces of trainer and the shadows and a couple of quick goes, and that's going to be, I'm actually amazed at how good it's worked on this text down here. Ordinarily I wouldn't have thought it got that at all, but it's recreated some of the text, got the same angle on it. I could remove that completely by just copying the wooden boards across, but that's really convincingly got rid of my figure from the shot and cleaned that one up as well. The last one, again, we'll do a combo, so I'll also go and use my object selection. Here is my object. It's done a pretty good job selecting him. You'll notice here it's obviously not selecting the shadows. Again, I'm going to go to select, modify, expand. It remembers the last setting I had. That was fine. I'll go OK, and then I can go to Edit, Content Aware Fill, and it's going to give me an impression of what it looks like over here. Now, when you come to output your Content Aware Fill, you do get options. Current layer means it will just fill it and stick it onto the original layer. Sometimes you might want to have a bit more control. So if I say New Layer and then OK, now what I have is the Content Aware filled area and then the original image. If I go to Select, Deselect, turn it off, I can see there's the original image. If I re-enable it, I can see there's the image with the Content Aware on it. In this case, I actually now want to merge the two together. So if I select both layers, go up here, I can say Merge Layers. That will combine them together. And I do need to get rid of this shadowy area. Once again, I could go and use my spot heel brush tool, but if I click and hold down, I think I'll get a better result if I use the patch tool. So I'll zoom in and draw around this shadow here. And then I'll patch that maybe along that way or along that way. And when I release, it's patching it in and also blending the colors through. So now that's convincingly got rid of that guy as well. So that's how I can remove objects from shots in Photoshop using different methods, or often best, a combination of different methods.